Kanofara High Court today nullified the candidature of the Abia State Governor-elect Dr. Alex Otti and all the candidates of the Labour Party in Abia and Kano states. And it's a battle of the hollow chambers. Tonight we dig into the internal issues in the APC as agitations grow over the zoning of the National Assembly presiding officer position. We will be hearing official position of the party based on the controversies that have been raised. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. What a good Friday it is. I hope it is at your side. Let's get the conversation started, everyone, and let's begin by letting you know what happened today at the presidential villa, where Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari and other dignitaries commissioned the 21 billion naira worth presidential wing of the State House Medical Center, the facility situated in the premises of the presidential villa in Abuja. Well, Mrs. Aisha Buhari said the idea of the medical facility is about 6 years old after the extensive stay of her husband abroad for medical treatment. The First Lady is of the opinion that Nigerian presidents have no need to travel abroad for medical treatments following the inauguration of the 21 billion naira worth of facility at the presidential villa in Abuja.
Health and wellness of the first family, they don't need to go abroad now. They can only need to maybe fly in an expert to help our people, you know. So no need for any leader to spend months and months abroad because of healthcare. We were living, she said, thank God that the budget has come to reality. And I've acted for it 6 years. I've initiated for this project 6 years ago when my husband spent 3 months consecutively 90 days. And it shouldn't, because we have all the experts in Nigeria. We only need like a good platform. And the hospital that's supposed to serve the first family is serving like 35,000 people, which is quite much. So that's why I insisted that we should have a VIP within the proximity of the presidential villa.
Wife of President Muhammadu Buhari, Mrs. Aisha Buhari. There was a judgment today, or there is a judgment from the Federal High Court in Kano State, and the implication is that the election of Mr. Alex Otti, the Labour Party presidential governorship candidate and the governor-elect of Abia State, has been nullified. The candidature of not only Mr. Alex Otti is at stake or is being under threat, but also of all the candidates in the Labour Party in Kano State. This has a far-reaching consequence. Is it a post-election matter, an election matter, or a pre-election matter? What does the law say about a pre-election matter or an election matter? Will this affect inauguration of Alex Otti as the governor of Abia State? It's just a few days away from the May 29 inauguration. These are all the issues that we are hoping to unravel tonight for you. I'll be getting some official position of the party. Hopefully, Mr. Otti might be able to talk to us, and even Mr. Julius Abure might be able to give us some insight into what is happening with their party. Also tonight on the program, you remember, there was a senator who said, whatever the position of the APC, it was just not an official one until the party goes to the neck and ratify the zoning arrangement. But as far as they are concerned, there is no zoning for the 10th National Assembly presiding officer position. Hearing officially also from the APC tonight. So stick around with me, everyone. First, let's serve you with your political roundup stories.
representation is about protecting the common good of the people in a democracy. This is a submission of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, at the closing ceremony of the induction activities of newly elected and returning federal lawmakers in Abuja. The Speaker, who was represented by the Leader of the House, Mr. Adodogua, enjoined the legislators not to lose sight of why they were elected in the first place, as it is easy to get distracted. He also appealed to them to work harmoniously with the coming administration. Ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, Representative Aminu Jaji, a federal lawmaker representing Kaura Namoda, Birini Magaji Federal Constituency, has declared his interest to become the Speaker of the 10th National Assembly. Representative Aminu Jaji declared his intention at a ceremony in Abuja, and he predicates his interest on the need to provide quality leadership for the House of Representatives. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, is accusing the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, of being a proxy in its petition against Bola Tinubu's qualification for the election. INEC, through its counsel, had moved the motion on notice, praying the courts to strike out 32 allegations made against Tinubu by Atiku, who is challenging the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the February 25th presidential election. And finally, Justice Daniel Okungbowa has been sworn in as the acting Chief Judge of Edo State, taking over from Justice Joe Acha, who left the office after reaching the retirement age of 65 years. While performing the swearing-in ceremony at the government house in Benin City, the state capital, Governor Godwin Obaseki urged the new chief judge to uphold the tenets of the judiciary during his tenure.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get started, shall we? We begin from the position of the Federal High Court in Kano today, which gave a position, a nullification of the candidature of Mr. Alex Otti and some others in Abia and Kano State. The court ruled that their emergence was not in compliance with the provisions of the 2022 Electoral Act. Justice Muhammad Yunusa of the Federal High Court ruled against the candidature of the Abia State Governor-elect, Dr. Alex Otti, and all the candidates of the Labour Party in Abia and Kano State. A copy of the judgment delivered today by the court was made available to journalists today, and in the suit filed by Mr. Ibrahim Haruna against the Labour Party and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the court ruled that the failure of the Labour Party to submit its membership register to INEC within 30 days before their primaries rendered the process invalid. Of course, we're getting some reaction and hopefully maybe some verbal response tonight on the program from the candidate, and the governor-elect, Mr. Alex Otti. And this is what he's telling his supporters and followers. He said to them to keep calm and that they are taking the right decisions to ensure that the mandate of the Labour Party and that of Alex Otti as the governor-elect of Abia State is not jeopardized. It's called for calm from all of his well-wishers and supporters, and insisting that his inauguration will hold as planned on the 29th of May. Of course, we'll be getting some official reaction. Mr. Julius Abure, who is the national chairman of the Labour Party, who we understand is in transit, might be joining us at some point, hopefully also. Incidentally, Mr. Alex Otti is also in transit. It will be good for our viewers tonight to be able to get a clarity and some words for them. If there are indications that there are no register submitted based on the deadline and the window provided by INEC and the law to submit the party register, what does this mean? And perhaps we might be getting some clarity because, I mean, as the leadership of the party and as a candidate, they might be able to give some clarity. But of course, we have here also to give some assistance in terms of information and the next step for the Labour Party. Mr. Kende Edun, who is the National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party, is here with me live in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Edun, for joining us. And also, we have a former Vice President of the NBA, Mr. Monday Obani, who is also live with us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Obani, and appreciate your time tonight. Not only that, we would have loved to get some clarity in respect of another case bordering on the leadership of the party from Mr. Julius Abure, but also this matter. Give us an understanding, because in this kind of matter, as the legal advisor of the Labour Party, you should be very much privy to this, and you should have an idea of what really went down. What went wrong?
In Abuja today?
No, let's begin with the Abia and Kano's in the Federal High Court today.
Yes, first of all, Labour Party is not perturbed by that judgment.
But what happened? I mean, let's look at, without the conjectures and the politics of it, let's look at the issue. Let me just say
what everybody can see. Look at, I've not seen the judgment, but I've seen the judgment order flying around. Anybody, just take a look at it. You see the parties. Who are the defendants in the matter? We have Labour Party, you have INEC. None of our elected members, Otti is not a defendant in the matter. No elected member of Labour Party is a defendant. You don't scrape somebody's head behind him. Nobody can suffer injury. Nobody can get benefits from any judgment if you are not a party to that judgment.
Is there a principle under the law in Nigeria?
That is clear. You see, there is a general principle of natural justice, which says you hear the other side. You don't condemn a man on heart. Somebody who is not a party to a matter, who is not even aware of the matter, who was not served with the process, how can you get a judgment against that person? So we are not perturbed. And you know, what are we saying? We are even happy about the judgment. This judgment is a vindication of our position that the Akpakpa group are sponsored to bring the party down. They are the one who went to Kano to file a matter, thinking that they could injure the party by nullifying the elections of our elected candidates, including Alex Otti, our senators. That's what they wanted. Our senators elect, our House of Reps elect, but they couldn't do it. The truth is that they went to Kano, they filed a matter against INEC and Labour Party, and they think with that judgment, they could nullify the elections of our elected members. That is not true. That can never happen. And you see, we are confident, so we are not perturbed in any way about what happened in Kano.
Has your party officially taken any steps?
Yes, the judgment was given yesterday. We have a lawyer in Kano who is trying to get the judgment to us. We have a citizen of the judgment, we look at it. But ordinarily, we have seen the judgment order that everybody has seen. We have looked at it. Look at the parties. That alone gives us confidence. None of our elected members was a defendant in the matter. You can't get judgment against somebody who has won an election, has gotten a certificate of return, is due to be sworn in, and you are saying you are getting judgment against that person. But I also want to say that, you see, we have to look at the judgment order very well. The court actually said that it could not give order against Alex Otti. It is in that document that's flying around. The court said that it could not give order against Alex Otti because Alex Otti and the elected members in Abia are not before the court. And that if anybody wants any judgment against them, they should go to the appropriate division of the court. The court was talking about territorial jurisdiction in that matter. That court in Kano could not have done it. But I'm even saying, I'm curious that the court mentioned that Alex Otti and the members in Abia are not before the court, so the court couldn't give judgment against them. But even the members in Kano are not before the court. Just looking at that process, that judgment order, you see that they were not before the court. So there's no way we could suffer any injury. We are happy because this is a vindication of our position about what Akpakpa and his motley group are doing. That's what they are doing.
Let me get Mr. Obani into this matter. Give us an understanding, Mr. Obani, of what to make of this. It's just a few days before inauguration, and this kind of judgment is coming. Although we're reading in some quarters now that the judge is saying he did not nullify Alex Otti's election or stopped Alex Otti's inauguration. What are your views on the verdict of the court?
Yeah, my opening statement, Sharon, thank you very much, is that this case that was decided within 1 week shows that if our judiciary wants to work, they want to work within a week. All those cases, we have the election matters at the election petition tribunal can be disposed of expeditiously. If you take into account when this case was initiated and how fast the judge himself in Federal High Court, Kano, decided the matter. There are many issues, concerning that matter. When I got the news, that was yesterday, or no, today. There are so many issues that, cropped up in my mind. One, I was asking myself, is this a pre-election matter? or is it a post-election matter? If it is a pre-election matter, who is the party? Who is this man? Does he have any locus? Why Federal High Court in Kano? And if it is a pre-election matter, has he actually complied with the timeline as provided for in Section 285, subsection 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that says only 14 days you have in a pre-election matter? And this particular candidate, they mentioned, that is Dr. Alex Otti, his primaries was concluded in, I think, sometime in last year, 2022, not even in 2023. And we are now in May. And you are bringing a pre-election matter in May of 2023, after election has been conducted in March. Now, if it is a post-election issue that this man is taking to Federal High Court, for God's sake, the Federal High Court is not a proper court. It doesn't have jurisdiction. When election has been concluded, result announced, and a party has been given what we call certificate of return. The proper place for you to now go is an election tribunal. Now, if you are raising the issue of qualification, you go there and as a candidate and challenge the man who has emerged as a winner, who has gotten the mandate of the people, whose election through Abia into joy, everyone dancing all over. For weeks, even as I speak to you now, Shehu, people are still rejoicing in Abia because of the fact that we have been delivered. We have been delivered by the man they call Dr. Alex Otti, who delivered Abia from where we were until this particular incident, took place. So I am saying that if it is a post-election issue, the proper place is an election tribunal, and the election tribunal will take us up to Supreme Court. The election tribunal will take us up to Supreme Court. It's only at the Supreme Court that the final matter of Dr. Alex Otti will be determined, and not at a Federal High Court. It is Supreme Court that will determine it. So on 29th of May, Dr. Alex Otti will be sworn in as the governor of Abia State. He will be sworn in on 29th of May as the governor of Abia State, and no force, no power can remove him except the Supreme Court. You can't even go through the Federal High Court. He has to go through the election tribunal up to Supreme Court level. So that is the position now. So the issue is, who is this man? What is his locus in coming to Federal High Court? Is he as a pre-election matter or as a post-election matter? If it's a pre-election matter, then I can assure you that it is statute barred. If it is a post-election matter, let him go to tribunal and show his locus.
Clarify to us, Mr. Unbinding. I mean,
yes.
For a lot of our viewers who are not very conversant with you lawyers' use of legal terms, and when you say statute bar, what does it mean? Are you saying that because election has been conducted, any matter that is brought before it, and when there are some non-compliance or issues, or there are some infractions that have been discovered, those matters cannot be brought as soon as the election are conducted? Is that a position of the law? Is that the electoral law? Or was it a position of precedents in law, especially maybe that of the Supreme Court? Clarify for us.
Yes, if it is a pre-election matter, the section I have cited before, section 285, subsection 9, says you have to bring that action timelessly, within 14 days. And as I said earlier, the election of Dr. Alex Otti took place last year. His primary election took place last year. And we're now in May 2023. So you cannot be talking about pre-election matter in May 2023. So 14 days you have to bring that action. So if you didn't bring that action within 14 days, it is statute barred. Now, if you are coming in as a post-election issue, the proper court for you to now go in order to challenge the election of Dr. Alex Otti is the Election Petition Tribunal, not Federal High Court. And Federal High Court in faraway Kano, in which Dr. Alex Otti was not even a party. The issue of fair hearing comes in. So if it is a pre-election matter, as I'm speaking to you, it's a statute barred, because it has taken several months before you commence this action. If it is a post-election issue, the man must be a party. The proper place for him to go is the Election Petition Tribunal, not where he has rushed to. That is Federal High Court in Kano. That is what I mean. And then the issue of whether if a party fails to submit his members register 30 days before the primaries, if you look at that section 77, it did not say what the consequences are. It only say you must submit. Did he say that if you do not submit, that the election itself is now null and void? There was no such provision in the Electoral Act. Check that particular section under which they came. Section 77, subsection 3. It did not say there are consequences for you not to submit. But even if it is the issue, and you are now saying that it's a qualification issue, then go to Election Tribunal. They will look at it and look at section 177 of the 1999 Constitution to know whether that falls under the issue of qualification for a governor to become a governor, whether issue of non-submission of political parties register comes under qualification under section 177. That will be decided at the tribunal, but not at the Federal High Court. After election has been concluded, result announced, issue of a certificate of return given, and a mandate given by the majority of Abians who are dancing and rejoicing. You want to go and nullify and steal the vote of the mandate of the people in Kano. No way, Mr. Sheung. No way for those people who are doing this. They can't do it.
Okay, let me come back to Mr. Edun here. You said you have taken a step. What exactly are the legal steps that you have taken in this respect?
We'll look at the judgment. But what I'm saying, the judgment is not even worth the pieces of paper on which it is printed. But we will look at it. And because of the nuisance factor, because of the noise it has created, we may just go there to just appeal the judgment and get it set aside. But what we are saying is that it is clear that judgment cannot stop any of our candidates. Our candidates will be sworn in just from May 29. We have our candidates. It cannot do any injury to us. We have said that clearly. And you can hear the analysis. It is clear that once somebody has become elected, the clear fact is that if you want to challenge that, you must have contested that election with him. And the only place you can go is an election tribunal to challenge that election. And from there, well, you look at what is the outcome from the tribunal. And the person that has won an election will still remain in office, even if the tribunal decides otherwise, because he has the right of appeal. And for governorship, a right of appeal to the Supreme Court. So if we are hearing we're getting some responses. I don't know how authentic it is now until we're able to affirm it, that the court has said, he did not nullify the election of Alex Otti. But let's look at the pleadings. Yes, if you look at the pleadings, just a moment, if you look at the pleadings, and I will read the fourth of that in the judgment order, the fourth paragraph from the court, which says, just a moment, which says the failure of the fourth defendant, which is Labour Party, to submit his register of members in Kano State and Abia State is in crass breach of the provisions of Section 77, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, and I hope that my producer will be able to put that on the screen for our viewers to see. If you flip to the third page of this document, that is where you will find it. And on the top of it, you will find this section that I'm reading out, that the purported primary elections of the fourth defendant is invalid, null and void, and of no effect. If you look down, it's also on the fifth paragraph, it said that the fundamentally flawed primary elections of the fourth defendant, which is the Labour Party, as a result of failure to comply with the mandatory provisions of Section 77, 2 and 3, cannot produce a qualified candidate that participated in the general elections as held on the 25th of February. It went further to talk about, in the seventh paragraph, it says that the votes cast for all the candidates of the fourth defendant, which is Labour Party, in Kano State and Abia State in the general elections of 2023 are wasted votes. So the question is, why did your party make that mistake of not complying with the status, with the electoral law, which provides on what you need to do? That is not correct. Condition precedent for a primary election. We complied. We submit our register of members of our party to INEC. We complied. And you know, this issue they are raising, let me tell you, membership is about the party. Only a party can say, this is my member. It is true that some members were given waiver to participate in elections, but that is clear. It is the party's discretion. It is in the party's power to do that, clearly. But we did comply. We submitted our register of members. And we are saying that Was there anybody that would want to challenge the emergence of these people as candidates of the party ought to have done that within 14 days of the occurrence of the event?
They reacted directly to those paragraphs that I read, especially the paragraph 7, which said that the votes cast for all the candidates based on those preceding paragraphs is of the fourth defendant, which is your party in Kano and Abia State, in the general election are wasted votes, based on the fact that it says that you did not meet up with the section 77, 2 and 3, and that provisions are clear, which says that you cannot produce a qualified candidate to participate in the election because you did not meet the condition precedent for a primary election for you to go into a general election.
The law did not say that. That is the prayer of those people to the court, because that is what we wanted. But that is mere wishful thinking. The law did not say, okay, don't go and look at that section. It did not say if you did not submit register of members, your votes are wasted. No. That the law did not say that. What we are reading is a prayer that they made to that court. Yeah, that is what they wanted. That is their wishful thinking, because they wanted to bring the party down. These suspended former national officers of the party, including Akwakwa, including the suspended former national legal advisor, including the suspended former national youth leader, including the suspended former national public secretary. That is what they wanted. That's their prayer to the court. But that is not true. The law never said that. Let me tell you, in any law, if you want to interpret any law, that's what they call the mischief rule. That says, what was the mischief in the old law that session wanted to cure? Now, the reason they brought that into the law is that for the purpose of direct primaries, so that INEC will know clearly who are the members of that party. That is the reason, and that is the need
okay, so let's make sense of it. Okay. So the section on which the prayers of the plaintiff was based, let me read it. It says in subsection 2, every registered political party shall maintain a register of its members in both hard and soft copy. Yes, subsection 3 says, each political party shall make such register available to the commission not later than 30 days before the date fixed for the party primaries, congresses, or convention. Yes. And the plaintiff is saying that you did not meet up with that deadline. That is not true. We submitted our register of members, and you have read the law. Did the law say anybody that did not submit the votes cast for his candidates are null and void? That law did not say that. That is mere wishful thinking of these renegades who wanted to bring the party down. That is what they wanted, but the law never said that. So, I've told you that the reason for that in the law is that INEC will know who are the members because of direct primaries. That is why there's the reason. Why is your party enmeshed in all of this quagmire? I mean, there is another issue in the court of whether Abure is the substantive national chairman or it is Apapa, and these are contentions from the different camps. And wherever you belong, you might be able to argue or debate it. But why is this a contention? Why is your party facing this kind of problem? It is because of the success we have achieved. We told you that we are different from these other parties, and we are doing something differently, and the Nigerian people are with us. The ordinary masses of Nigerians are with us. And let me tell you, these people that are benefiting from the old order will never be happy with this. They have a lot of money to throw around. They have entrenched themselves. They are not happy. They wanted to continue to put the people down. So they are seeing now that these people are growing. They are taking over the country. Let us sponsor people to attack them. We are ready for all this. We knew it will happen. Let me tell you, success will always have people who want to detract you. But we are determined, because this is what Nigerians wanted. That is why they voted massively for us. We are not going to betray Nigerians. We are going to keep the faith. We are going to be strong for Nigerians, because we know what we are taking on. Mr. Papa was in court today at the Tribunal. Yes. Did you see him? Yes, he was at the Tribunal, but I think he has learned his lessons. He did not make trouble the way he made trouble the other time. So I think he has learned his lessons. And let me tell you, Akwakwa is a victim of some of these renegades. So the former national legal advisor, the former national youth leader, the former national public secretary, they are the one that it's like it's being held hostage. I pity the old man. This man is held hostage by people who are deceiving him, who think he can be chairman. How can? The court in Abuja today said it never appointed anybody as acting officers, even though he granted an interim order. So, restraining some national officers, he did not appoint anybody
and that why would people be parading themselves as acting officers of the party? Let me tell you, these people are misguided, they are renegades, and well, their game is up.
All right.
What happened in Kano is also their handiwork. You can see that. But you know, I said it the last time I was on this program. I told you about Akwapa and his group writing letters to all the tribunal, trying to withdraw our petitions. Today, they attempted it at the presidential tribunal when they brought a lawyer, a senior advocate, who said he had just been briefed. But the court reprimanded the senior lawyer and told him that as a senior lawyer, he should have known better. He did not file any petition before. You know, I told you the last time when I was here, I said when a petition is filed, the counsel who filed, the team of lawyers, their names will be on the petition. The counsel who filed, they will sign the petition with the names of the team of lawyers, and the petitioners themselves will also sign.
So, I mean,
and now somebody went to court today and said that they had just been briefed.
The procedure of the court, even before the court start listening to any petition, is that it will recognize the lawyers that have been briefed, that their names are on the case, and that is what happened for every, either the petitioner or the defendant, whoever you are in the case, all of the lawyers that will be represented in the matter, their name will officially be mentioned before the court. But let me allow Mr. Monday Ubani to give us his closing thought on this matter. If you are to advise Labour Party in this respect, and for what I have seen and known covering these beats, there's nothing that anyone needs to take for granted. The little and the most, the slightest of the storm can actually sweep anyone away. We've seen this happen in our politics severally.
Yeah, the Labour Party have very smart guys around them. I'm sure, you know, immediately this thing happened, they were able to get copies of the judgment, I mean the court order. And of course, it's circulated all over the place. And they have taken steps in order to prepare to file either an appeal, you know, to set aside this particular order. As I said earlier, the court has no jurisdiction whatsoever. It is a post-election matter that should go to a tribunal and not at the Federal High Court. It is a judgment that is given by incurium. Maybe the man was misled, and because we hear about that later. That particular ruling couldn't have been made by a judge who has been properly, you know, seized of the facts of the case that this is a post-election issue. Let's even assume that this is a post-election issue in which the court is being asked to determine issue of qualification. Won't proper parties be joined? Was Dr. Alex Otti that he made a judgment against them? Was he part of the particular case? He made a statement that he cannot issue certificate of return, order INEC to issue certificate of return to any person that was not a party in the issue. So if he recognizes that those people were not parties in that case, why will he now make an order against Dr. Alex Otti that was not a party? Why would he make an order against Dr. Alex that was not a party? Where you know that there are parties that were not there, and you couldn't order INEC to issue them certificate of return. As I speak to you today, from that judgment, Dr. Alex Otti is still in possession of the certificate of return. And so he will be the one that will be sworn on 29th of May, and no other person. So they are taking steps in order to set aside this particular order. It was given by incurium. The judge was not properly seized of the facts.
By incurium means that...
in ignorance, that the relevant facts, the relevant law were not brought before the court. So the court...
So the final part, I mean, I like your final thought. Now, the final paragraph of that judgment, paragraph 9, the court was saying, and this is I found very intriguing though, because if the court has said, if you do not meet this certain standard based on paragraph 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that elections those votes are wasted. But we'll see what the court now said in paragraph 9, which makes me a bit more worried about the entire judgment. The court now said the candidates that participated in election in Abia State are not parties before this court. As such, the court lacks the jurisdiction to make an order for the issuance of certificate of return to them. They are, however, at liberty to seek the said redress in the appropriate division of the court. But why did the court in the first place say the votes in those elections?
You can see the confusion.
So there seems to be, in that piece of judgment, there seems to be some, I mean, I don't know.
Yes, you can
your final thoughts tonight.
Yes, my final thought is that we thank Nigerians for standing with us, and we are vindicated because we preempted them. We knew what they were doing. The Apapa-led group, they are the one behind all these things, but we are not perturbed. Because we are happy, we are even happy about that judgment, because that has exposed all the intrigues against the party. It has exposed the kind of attack we are facing from many quarters.
All right.
But we'll remain strong for Nigerians. We promise them that we will not be deterred.
Thank you so much. It does look like the leadership politics of your party, we're seeing the legal angle to it, and that is what is really unsettling things in your party. Kehinde Edun, National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party, and Monday Ubani, a very senior lawyer and a former vice president of the NBA. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. Unfortunately, Mr. Julius Abure and Dr. Alex Otti are unable to join us. I understand they are in transit and we expected that they were going to be able to join this session. But it's all good. That ends well. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it very much.
We take a break, everyone, and when we come back, we deal with another party matter. Yeah, this is the Labour Party this time around, but we'll talk about yet another political party and some of the intrigues happening in their own party. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So, if you are one of those who are thinking that Labour Party is enmeshed in these internal quagmire, leading to some of the legal issues that we have seen, well, wait until you hear the APC, the All Progressives Congress, which a lot of people think that they are playing an own goal in a game that they should naturally be able to meander, effectively considering the experience of those players and the stakeholders that are involved. The zoning of the National Assembly leadership and the 10th National Assembly is causing a lot of internal worries for the APC, and there are possibilities of the agitations leading to some resentment and perhaps those who feel that this could lead to some kind of members who are disenchanted working against the APC on the floor. It is a battle in the hallowed chambers, and thus it needs a very careful approach. Tonight, let's get some perspective from official perspective from the National Working Committee of the APC. Mr. Felix Moka is a National Publicity Secretary of the APC. He joins us live here on the program. Thank you so much, Felix, for joining us tonight.
Thanks, as always.
You were here. You told me that the position of the stakeholders and your party was that the party is zoned the way it wants to be zoned. Abia, Senate President Barao Jibrin, the Deputy Senate President, Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker, Ben Kalu as the Deputy Speaker. That is the position of the party. It was intriguing, however, that Senator Osita says, look, he's being, and look, give it to him, he's one of the founder leaders of the APC. He says that is not the right way to do things. As far as he's concerned, whatever that you guys have done and you made an announcement of is null and void. He does not hold water.
Senator Izunaso is senior member of our party. He's a elected senator of the Federal Republic. I listened to that interview and I was taken aback, quite frankly. I didn't expect someone in his status and standing to say some of the things he said. I mean, he has a right to speak and to say his views, but to push back against what was a stated position of the party was a bit unexpected. I was surprised by that. Because as someone in his capacity, he has full access to everyone in the party. If he needed to be sure, all it took was a phone call or a visit with the party, as some of his colleagues have done, to actually learn more about that. And I listened to him. He put a lot of stress on some of the language of the statement, which I gave, making that announcement. For example, he kept talking about this further and better consultation. And when I listened, I was smiling because he simply picked words out of the statement without reading it down to the end of the statement.
So let's clarify it.
Yeah, just to clarify.
Does that position of the party make it an official position?
It is the official position of the party.
Usually,
yes,
in an official position of the party, which sometimes becomes a policy decision of the party, where is the final stop? Which organ of the party gives is a final authority?
The NWC has full authority to both engage in that or to coordinate the consultation and to make the announcement, which he did. It's well within the authority of the National Working Committee.
So I'm talking about a policy decision of the party. Can the zoning of the National Assembly be seen as a policy decision of the APC?
You know, it depends on what you call it, policy decision. The National Working Committee of the party
That's what Senator Osita has described.
No,
he said that kind of decision is a policy decision of the party.
No, the NWC is well within its authority to make decisions on zoning arrangement for the party. Now, he talks about NEC and talks about, the caucus. This is not a matter for NEC. I mean, if you know how NEC is convened, you don't convene NEC the way you convene the NWC meetings. You require statutory periods of notice, which even the period we're dealing with
21 days
does not permit.
That you have to give a notice of about 21
That's right.
days
So,
before the NEC is convened.
For the NEC to be convened. And it requires the presence and the consent of critical.
So his argument is that before you can come around with this kind of position, the NEC needs to ratify. That is what the position of the party is, according to him.
No, that is his own understanding of the position. That is not the position of the party or even of our constitution. What is zoning, by the way? When I came here, I actually used the word recommendation advisedly. And that is because at the end of the day, even though we as a party, have interests and have even the duty to also look at the big picture and, do zoning in a way that promotes, national unity, national cohesion, we are also keenly aware that the decision as to who emerges, presiding officers of the National Assembly, it's done on the floor of the National Assembly by those who elected, who vote to elect the members. But we are the party on our side, and we have every right to recommend to our members who have been elected, who have that right to vote as the party has recommended. That's what zoning is about. So zoning is not, from listening to him, it's as though the distinguished senator was actually expecting the party to cast, language in iron and deliver, for it to then rise to that level that he would say, okay, this is a decision. But if you read the statement down, which I think, just to be clear, I'd like to read the paragraph.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
So that those who listen to him will also get a better perspective. It says the NWC noted, with respect, the outcome of the meetings held between the president-elect and the leadership of the NWC. The NWC called for further and better consultation with necessary stakeholders in order to assure support of the aspirants to aspirants to the National Assembly leadership and members of the party nationwide, meaning further and better consultation so that we can get all of the other aspirants, and for that matter, all of the party members nationwide to support the position we're taking. That was, but he simply was picking, cherry-picking.
Why is it? Okay, so let's look at how your party went about it. Because as the leader of the party, Osita Izunaso is saying, look, the party decision was faulty. And how you came about that decision was also faulty. How then do you make a decision right there without an hoping that you will now get support when you have failed in making consultations, far-reaching consultations?
No, Shemun, that's not the way it works.
Did you make consultations?
Yes, we did. I mean, the statement itself made that clear. And indeed, we consulted with leaders and, a wide spectrum.
So when you say stakeholders, so for example, and I make it this as simple as possible. So, I mean, let's assume Mr. Felix Smoker has 2 wives and has 14 children, and you consult with 1 wife and 3 of your children. Would you say you have made far-reaching and wide consultation?
No, we're not going to go into the...
No, I'm asking. No, because we need to, for the sake of equity and also for clarity, would you say the consultation your party made before getting to that position was clear and equitable enough?
Shemun, yes, it was. See, look, we're not going to go into any conversation about data or statistics or numbers or even a list of those who were consulted. But the point here is that consultation is an unfinished business. It's necessarily infinite.
You said you consulted with the president-elect and the vice president-elect
and other leaders and stakeholders
of the party. So the question is that you are shaving the heads of those who are in the game without their consent. They went and they were obviously very visibly angry with you. The stakeholders came, the members of the National Assembly, those who are contending in the race came and said they were never consulted.
Yes, some of them have
said that. Is that fair?
Chairman, some of them have said that. Some of them have come to the NWC to make their point, and we threw our doors open for them to come in.
Does it make sense for you to have gone ahead without consulting them in the first place?
No, Chairman. Consultation is ongoing.
Mr. Moka.
It's ongoing.
Don't let us be political in this game. Is it okay to have not consulted them before you made that decision?
Sure.
These are the guys that are going. This is an election that you will not be part of. The national chairman will not be part of it. The president-elect will not be part of it. The vice president-elect will not be part of it. The people that will go and elect and represent your party, you did not consult them before you decide.
No, Shehu, listen.
Did you consult them?
Let me make this very clear.
Did you consult them, Mr. Moka?
Shehu, you see, when you ask the question, you're asking a categorical question.
Yeah, because the fact
you're asking me to say, you're asking me, for example, did we consult 100%?
No. I'm asking, there are contenders. The first G7 came to you.
You've asked the question.
No, just hold on. Let's put it in perspective for the sake of our viewers tonight. The G7 came to you in the House of Reps and they said they were not consulted. The Deputy Speaker, which is the second most senior member of your party in the House of Reps, said he was not consulted. 3 members who are contesting in the Senate said they were not consulted. Is that fair not to have consulted them?
No, Shimon, listen. Some of the individuals you've referenced, even within the broader category, have said they were not consulted. What is the meaning of that? Consulted by who? By the NWC? Or consulted by, the team of leaders who were involved in this process? See, no, Shimon, you are asking this question. I think that's the context in which you are taking this point. That every single one of the members of that group or of aspirants or even the entire elected members of the National Assembly should have been consulted. That is not the way it works. Whether before, during, or after such a decision is made. When you do primaries, for example, you do consultations. But nobody says that it must be universal, that every single person must be consulted. But that's also not to say that there was no consultation.
But do you,
as the question is suggested,
that's not
how it goes.
Does the NWC see that there's a possible misstep? Because the national chairman says, they have listened, there is a possible review. Is there a possibility?
See, even if every single one of the aspirants and every single one of the elected members of the National Assembly were individually consulted, even if they still will have a right to demand review and to demand further consultation. Consultation is not, an activity. It's a process. It's a program. And that's what the party is saying. And that's why we said that we will continue to engage in consultations, with respect to this decision. Because until the final moment, the goal is to actually try to persuade the very last senator, member of the House, to, accept or go with the party. Now, by the way, the party is a democratic institution. This statement could have been written in other language. But we're being very attentive and sensitive to the situation of every individual, even those you have consulted. If they say, well, you talk to me about it, but I still don't accept, what does that mean? It means you have to continue to engage, continue to consult and give reasons and hopefully get them to that point where you can find common ground.
Mr. Moka, I have the sense that you're trying to defend the mistake of your party without having to realize. Just a moment. Yes. Without having to realize or come to terms with what the members of your party. This is not a problem of the media because easily you politicians know how to throw things back at the media. These are members of your party
we're not blaming you for that.
saying,
Yes.
these are members of your party accusing your party of not doing the right thing. And you are not coming to terms to realize that your party has picked, members of your party picked hole in your decision. But as the biggest organ of your party, which is the NEC, can the NEC undo this arrangement that was announced by the NWC?
Chairman, I'm not going to go into that.
Is it possible?
Discussion.
Is it possible?
No. First of all, this is not a matter for NEC to discuss. This is zoning. We have elections coming up, in a matter of, a few weeks from now. You don't convene NEC of the party
if
to
there
deal
is
with
a decision that is threatening the peace of your party, wouldn't the NEC
this is not
go to intervene?
Chairman, let's not overstate this. Matter.
Really?
Yes.
Should I describe how critical this is for you, Mr. Moka? Maybe because you are on the inside, and some of us who have institutional memory of some of this situation, we might be able to put into perspective. And I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to go into the days of Umezioke. I'll go just as close as the days of the likes of Saraki and the likes of Dogara. And I'll let you know that your party has been beaten in this kind of game. Over and over, it has had problems in this kind of game. And let me draw your attention to this. You have some of the most experienced lawmakers who have now become the president-elect and the vice president-elect. Your party chairman is also a very senior federal lawmaker. And these are people whose experience should come to play. The very first political challenge of your party that the Senate, the president-elect and the vice president-elect will be facing is this very one.
Absolutely.
And this could threaten to the very roots of your party structure. And you think that this is not critical enough?
No, she won't.
It's even affecting the unity of this country. Are you not aware?
She won't.
Are you aware?
Can I answer the question?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So we made an announcement. The language of that announcement by itself was sufficiently clear that we expect these issues to be extremely contentious, as they have always been. You just referenced some of those occasions. There's never been a time when the National Assembly leadership or presiding officer leadership is to be determined without this level of intensity. It is serious business. This is the National Assembly, the other arm of government. So you don't go to the discussion of the process for the selection of those who lead that assembly, as though you were a tea party. It's serious business, and we're taking it very seriously. Look, as a matter of fact, I would have thought that the language of that announcement actually, suggested the seriousness with which we viewed the discussion that we're having. Because we were very clear. We said, look, we will continue to talk to our members, hoping that we can get them to, come to that common ground. And we will do that until the vote is taken. If we didn't take it seriously, we have made an announcement and say, you know what, hey, we're done.
Felix,
we didn't.
Felix,
let me finish. Let me finish, please. And we're doing just that. And it's not just the NWC. As you know, we've hosted, so many groups who have come through to make some of these points. Those who were mentioned in that announcement on their own are working night and day to reach out to their colleagues. People are talking across all of the strands of the party. And that will continue. It's not going to stop tomorrow. It continues until inauguration. That's the nature of the process.
Let's anchor on this note. It is to err is human. And whoever it is, no matter how big or small you are as a human being, the day you realize that it is just okay to make mistakes, your party may have made a mistake. Don't forget that we are coming out of an election that ethnicity and religion was a major issue.
Right.
And members of your party are drawing up this particular matter again, North Central, totally out of the scheme of things. There are 4 presiding officers' role. Out of those 4, 2 positions are taken by one region. And one region is totally left out or in the dark in this matter. And you're bringing back the memory of the campaign issues of the 2023 elections. And these are the issues that a lot of people are saying if your party is not managing well, could cause further division of the country. A whole region, the North Central region, the 6 states in the North Central are feeling vilified and feeling left out of the equation. And your party as a ruling party don't think that this is something to worry about.
Sure, I'm surprised you're using some of these words about parties not worried about it.
I'm asking you, are you worried about it? It's a question.
No, it's not. You're actually you're almost suggesting that the party is not worried about it.
But it's a fact, isn't it?
Shemo, see, look, if you're asking a question, I'll answer it.
No,
and the question is...
You're contending with the question I asked, and I'm asking again that there are facts in what I've asked you. That these are things that have brought worry. I've had several members of your party sat in that same chair and who have raised this issue.
Look, you know what? I would appreciate if you would just let me finish my thought on this.
Please go ahead. Your final thought.
Look, there's no one in the APC who is not aware or living in the moment that we're in. We're keenly aware of that. And that is, the reason we're taking all of the steps that we have taken and we're, continuing to take to deal with this matter. And as a matter of fact, I think it's also quite early to reach, some of these conclusions, because the issue of zoning is not just about National Assembly. There's a big picture. The slots and the positions will soon become manifest after inauguration. So you must take the totality of the equity of this conversation. But when you just look at the National Assembly and you say, and I'm not going to go into that conversation. But my final point is that, and this is now speaking to our people. They are aware. They've come through. All of the groups who came and met with the National Working Committee. I'm sure you have seen that there's some, lowering of tempo because we're giving them that space and opportunity to express themselves, and the party is taking them very seriously.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moka. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's not difficult for you to explain this issue. No, that's okay. It's not out of time.
It's not.
It's Friday. I'll allow you to go ahead and
oh, my goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm Sean Kibale. I'll see you on Sunday, 8 p.m. Bye-bye, everyone.